It's a pleasure to have you join us on Nationwide today. We are live on the network service of the NTA. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Let's begin with the latest figures from the NCDC on COVID-19. At about midnight on May 27th, 2020, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirmed 389 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. A breakdown of the figures shows that Lagos has 256 new cases, Katsina 23, Edo 22, Rivers 14, Kano 13, while Adamawa and Akwa Ibom states have 11 each. Others are Kaduna 7, with 6 each for Kwara and Nasarawa, 2 each for Gombe, Plateau, Abia, Delta, Benue, Niger, Kogi and Oyo states. Imo, Borno, Ogun and Anambra states also recorded 1 case respectively. Following this development, Nigeria now has a total of 8,733 cases of COVID-19, out of which 2,501 were discharged. Unfortunately, 254 patients have now died of the virus. And a report just in says the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, has directed immediate closure of the corporate headquarters of the NDDC Port Harcourt temporarily as a result of suspected outbreak of COVID-19. Akpabio also advised all staff currently exhibiting symptoms not to panic but report to the nearest NCDC center in Port Harcourt for evaluation and possible treatment. The minister assures workers of the Commission of further actions which will be communicated to them. The numbers of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria keep rising. Medical experts advocate more strategic monitoring as well as effective enforcement on compliance with safety measures. These was part of submissions by guests on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria, while discussing situation report of COVID-19 in states. Olusheye Adeagbo completes the report.
As at 28 May, Thursday morning, Jigawa State is sitting in the 8th place on the NCDC chart of coronavirus cases in Nigeria with over 240 patients. But the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Abba Zakari Umar, says COVID-19 situation in the state is under control as authorities concerned have been putting in place contingent measures to stem the tide.
The governor decided to establish, a molecular laboratory in the state. Currently, we've procured the equipment, the laboratory, and they've been installed, and we are currently test running the lab.
Also on the response to COVID-19 in Kaduna State, Dr. Amina Muhammad Baloni, Commissioner for Health in the state, says priorities have been placed on ensuring an effective contact tracing, and Dr. Tokwola Miwa, Consultant Family Physician in Port Harcourt, explains how serious monitoring of the state borders to curb community transmission tops one of the state's priority.
We have tried to effectively only allow people that are on essential movement that should be moving, actually moving.
We still have few cases of people trooping into the states, and they could be the reason for the increase in number of people of coronavirus cases.
For Dr. Mohamed Kau, Acting Secretary, FCT Health and Humanitarian Services Secretariat, suspected cases of COVID-19 have been a major challenge, but he is optimistic of the plans to address this adequately.
So we'll be managing a lot of cases that are cases from those states. And even the recently announced cases from Kogi, actually they are being managed presently at National Hospital, Abuja.
The guests suggest strengthened synergy between governments at all levels and health partners for a more robust national response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In Abuja, Olusheye Adeagbo, NTA News.
And the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has released COVID-19 public health protocols for Nigerian-based crew operating international flights, as flight crew must now wear personal protective equipment, PPE, and observe infection protection and control measures for the duration of the flight. A letter by the Director General, NCAA, Captain Musa Nuhu, says the flight crew will not be quarantined but undergo mandatory testing for COVID-19 every 14 days at cost to the air operator upon return to Nigeria, as flight crew members who test positive for COVID-19 will be taken to a treatment center for further management, which is now the new protocol approved by the Federal Ministry of Health. The protocol states that Nigeria-based airlines or aircrew wishing to conduct flight operations outside the country shall be required to comply with the following: ensure orientation and sensitization of crew on infection, protection and control, IPC measures as regards training and guidance from public health authorities. Ensure they have adequate stock of personal protective equipment, minimum 70% alcohol-based hand sanitizers and universal precaution kits on board aircraft before the flight. Also ensure flight crew wear personal protective equipment and observe IPC measures for the duration of the flight, and flight crew are to ensure that passengers apply alcohol-based sanitizers on their hands as they embark the aircraft, plus observance of all international protocols for prevention and control of COVID-19. And in less than 24 hours, it will be May 29th, 2020, marking the end of the first year of the second four-year term of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and the fifth year of the government in office. Available statistics released by the Media Office of the President indicate that the administration has made productive impact in almost all the facets of Nigerian life. The three umbrella areas on which where government based its interventionist agenda are security, reviving the economy with particular emphasis on job creation, especially for youth, and fighting corruption. In the area of security, government has taken the battle to the insurgents and criminals, and they are being extinguished by the day and very close to complete extermination. Similarly, the economy, which was long dependent on a monoproduct, petroleum, is being retooled and refocused with diversification as a task that must be accomplished. Agriculture has also been given a boost. Manufacturing has got a shot in the arm, and solid minerals are contributing a large chunk to the gross domestic product. The country is very close to food security, with most of the grains no longer imported. On the war against corruption, there have been aggressive fiscal reforms and plugging of leakages in such a way that seems to say, commit the crime, do the term. Sectorial analysis of the giant strides in the past 5 years will come in our subsequent bulletins. And it's now time to join Adeola in our Lagos Network Center for more reports. Hello, Adeola. You're on.
Thank you. And for stories from this end, from all indications, the nonchalant attitude of some individuals in public with regards to safety measures is capable of slowing down the ambition for a COVID-19 free country. Abolade Salami takes a look at this phenomenon in Makoko area of Lagos.
Makoko community in Yaba local government area of Lagos State is densely populated, where most residents are into fish farming and some milling of woods. Currently, the community is bustling as business owners carry on without the consciousness of maintaining the rules of safety.
As for people, you see so many people, they are not using their mask. Maybe we did some enforcement, I don't know. but people are not really complying with it.
Even though there's some way we go to come. How much 1,500 you go back? Some people from what was salaries now. We had said that let's go back. I want to go down the question you go run come.
While most residents feign ignorance about the necessity of wearing face masks and keeping social distancing in the public, it was observed that commuters in public buses and passengers in tricycles were maintaining these rules.
Even we also fear the sickness. If you notice that you don't cover your mouth with mask, we do not like to carry you.
Like this garage now, everything is, all the conductor, driver use the cover. Two people in the box.
Concerned individuals residing in the community are appealing to authorities to enhance enforcement in order to prevent community spread of COVID-19. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Contrary to earlier speculations, the Marine Beach Bridge in Lagos will not be closed this week. This development, according to the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, is to enable contractors work on making alternative routes better motorable. Dotun Oguyemi has the report.
Most motorists were wary to ply this route, which is the Marine Bridge leading to Apapa. Their worries were, however, met with relative ease, as the road, earlier scheduled to be closed for repairs, was open to traffic. Sunday is a shipping agent. He says the timing for repairs is right, as the bridge has been subjected to unusual dead weight from being used as a truck park.
It's good to do the road, but the second way, you have to pity the masses that going to walk to Apapa here.
The Marine Beach Bridge is a critical infrastructure. It not only links the Apapa port, but also the Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy, and also serves as an access route to Ajegunle, one of the most popular communities in Lagos. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Engineer Olukayode Popola, says the delayed closure of the bridge is to allow for palliative works to be carried out on alternative routes.
Closure that we are going to do is going to be partial. Partial in the sense that we are not going to close the entire width of the bridge. We are going to close one lane at a time, and then the vehicle can go inside Apapa and come out of Apapa using one lane.
In a related development, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has reacted to speculations circulating on social media that Lagos residents should avoid the Third Mainland Bridge.
We should disregard that news. Please, the road is safe, the bridge is safe, very comfortable to ride on.
The Controller of Works stated that scheduled repairs on the Third Mainland Bridge will soon commence and was delayed as a result of COVID-19. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
Nationwide will continue with Hawaii in Abuja after this break. To stay on.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
As women, we guard our homes. Coronavirus COVID-19 is real.
Wash your hands with soap and water regularly.
Use the hand sanitizer always.
Maintain social distancing and avoid crowded places.
Disinfect contact surfaces at intervals.
Wear face masks if you must go out.
Share faith, not fear.
Symptoms of COVID-19 are headache, fever, sore throat, and dry cough, difficulty in breathing.
If you have this, please seek medical help immediately.
COVID-19 is real. Stay safe. This message is from the Women Wing of Christian Association of Nigeria. Woe we can!
This is a very important message. Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. You not even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No they to receive visitors, so even if not your grandchildren. Make extra mask where you go fit wash. Make like 2 and dash your number 1. And if they come out for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water. To avoid coronavirus, make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. No forget, Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Na coalition of societies for the right of older persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Thanks for rejoining Nationwide. President Muhammadu Buhari has written the Senate requesting the approval of external borrowing of $5.5 billion United States dollars to finance the revised 2020 budget. The executive communication explained that the loan will also be used to finance priority projects of the federal government of Nigeria and support state government projects. The Senate has also begun consideration of the revised Appropriation Act Amendment Bill of 10.509 trillion naira from 10.594 trillion. In commemoration of the 2020 Children's Day, the Senate reaffirmed legislative commitment to ensure that all Nigerian children of school age are enrolled. And still staying with the National Assembly in its bid to ensure that rights of Nigerians are protected in China following alleged abuse, a joint committee of the House of Representatives is reaching out to stakeholders for inputs. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The chairman of the Joint Committee investigating alleged rights violations and abuse of Nigerians living in China, which went viral a couple of weeks back, Representative Yusuf Buba says already the committee has received documents from the Chinese Embassy, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Union of Africans living in China. The committee noted that human rights violations and abuses are against international conventions and protocols, which is why the House is resolute in its determination to get to the root of the matter.
Foreign Affairs Ministry have had several meetings with the Chinese government, and they have assured Nigerians that the rights of Nigerians will be protected in China and also in every part of the world.
The Joint Committee is made up of members from House Committee on Foreign Affairs, Diaspora, and Committee on Interparliamentary Affairs. Recommendations of the committee will be forwarded to plenary for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Today, May 28th, 2020 marks the birth of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, with the signing of the Treaty of Lagos in 1975. Founded with the vision of a regional community aimed at fostering interstate economic and political cooperation, the ECOWAS mandate was revised in Lagos in 1993 and has since been on the path to adopt a common market and custom union, prevent conflict and ensure good governance and democracy. Speaker, ECOWAS Parliament, Sidi Mohamed Tunis notes that 45 years down the line, ECOWAS member states are better integrated with easier migration of citizens, common agricultural policy and multifaceted agricultural infrastructure program. Current impact of the novel coronavirus pandemic, however, remains a threat to the development of the region, and Speaker Sidi Mohamed Tunis says the fifth legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament is determined to play its role in the Commission's post-COVID-19 program to the benefit of the people. He emphasized the need for member states to redesign budgets and national programs to reflect current realities as the region works in unity to emerge stronger when the pandemic is eventually contained. And Asmao is next from our Sokoto Network Center. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Hawa, and welcome to Sokoto. Leaders of Sabon Birni and the entire Sokoto state have been advised not to play politics with matter of security. Governor Aminu Tambol stated this when he led a delegation of security chiefs in the state to condole and sympathize with the people of Sabon Birni and Gorenyo local governments over the attack of bandits in the areas.
The visit was informed by the recent banditry attacks that claimed some lives at Garin Faji, Garin Bature, Kwakwazo, and the Kagara communities of the areas. Condoling the families of the deceased victims and the people of the areas, Tambol said state government is working closely with the federal government toward checking the activities of bandits in the state, while calling for sustained support from the people of the areas to security operatives. Tambol said part of the recent measure put in place by the federal government is its plan to establish a mobile police squadron at Sabon Birni to nip in the bud the activities of bandits in those areas.
I therefore caution and appeal to leaders not to play politics with matters of security. We must not play politics with matters of health and development. Partisan politics should be set aside. We should all come together and work together as leaders of our people to ensure that we secure our people, we bring development, and we engender peaceful coexistence and cooperation and cohesion.
During the visit, community stakeholders refuted claim that soldiers from Niger Republic have been checkmating the activities of bandits in the border communities of the state. Tambol noted that he confirmed the spuriousness of the claim after consultations with stakeholders, including security chiefs. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol has commended the federal government for establishing the police trust fund, hoping that it would help in addressing most of the challenges facing the force. Dalatu Abdullahi reports that the governor made the remarks while inaugurating the state branch of the Community Policing Advisory Committee.
Community Policing Advisory Committee is a reflection of the current administration of the Nigerian force derived from Force Order 291. The order empowers the force to engage in active partnership with law-abiding citizens and government agencies to check rate of crime, reduce public fear, and ensure safety of the communities. The mission is to bring together all the relevant stakeholders actively participate in the proper policing of the communities.
The aim of the Zone Police, Ajit Muhammad Abubakar, is to change the narratives from traditional policing to modern concept of policing, that is community policing.
Until unless as governments were able to address needs in terms of manpower, in terms of training, retraining, in terms of provision of modern equipment, in terms of provision of vehicles, and even firepower, we may not get to the level of comfort that we can say Nigeria is being fully policed.
The 7-member police advisory committee is to be chaired by Chairman, Council of Traditional Rulers of the state, and saddled with the responsibility of coordinating and dealing appropriately with all the community policy matters. In Sokoto, Dalhato Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's it for Sokoto. The news will continue with Abuja. Good afternoon.
Very well, Asmao. And moving on here in Abuja, the Federal High Court sitting in the Federal Capital Territory has declared the recent deregistration of some political parties by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as valid and in line with the law. Delivering judgment on a suit filed by the National Unity Party seeking to stop INEC from deregistering 74 political parties, Justice Taiwo said INEC did not run foul of Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution as amended, particularly since there was no urgent reason to restrain INEC from taking their action. The National Unity Party is one of the 74 political parties who failed to win any position at the recent presidential, governorship, national, state, and local government elections. The Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, in collaboration with the National Directorate of Employment, is thoroughly operationalizing the job creation template of the federal government under the Special Public Works Program in the 774 local governments. This is targeted at mitigating impacts of economic depression faced by the COVID-19 global health crisis. Over now to Abubakar Usman Akwanga.
Nigeria has consistently initiated employment strategies through various enterprise and skills to meet global best practices in engaging its labor force. Most recent is a special public works initiated to create employment in 774 local government areas of Nigeria.
And we are to be recruited largely from the pool of unemployed, unskilled persons, ordinarily residents in those rural areas.
With a budget size of 42.2 billion naira, the program is marked to provide stipend of 20,000 naira to beneficiaries over a period of 3 months. The Minister of State Labour and Employment, Festus Keyamo, SAN, explains that the criteria for selection of employees will be determined by 11 members committee to be inaugurated across the Federation ahead of execution on the first day of October 2020, and a comprehensive data will be developed to fast-track payment by CBN through verified bank details.
Having reviewed all the recommendations of this interministerial committee, I believe that the selection of the beneficiaries and projects should be a local affair and not to be done from a room in Abuja.
It says federal government has approved the deployment of online facilities to monitor the implementation of the program across the country. The Rural Component Social Intervention Program is the largest that will be carried out by any government in the history of Nigeria. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And the Nigeria Governors Forum is to explore collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning to leverage on the approved $1 billion COVID-19 crisis facility by the African Development Bank to meet the needs of Nigerians during the lockdown occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. Again, Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the proposed interface is part of the outcome from the 9th teleconference of the NGF on COVID-19.
The resolution, which formed major part of the NGF communique in its 9th virtual meeting, was to initiate austerity measures in the areas of health, agriculture, and security. The forum endorsed the development of a 3-month plan on the reopening of the economy by the National Executive Council Subcommittee and sustained interface with Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Nigerian Governors Forum NEC Haddock Committee is also to interface with the Economic Sustainability Committee, headed by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, to incorporate its contributions as a national response to COVID-19 crisis. The NGF pledges to consolidate and strengthen engagement with coalition against COVID-19 in the distribution of palliatives and other interventions to vulnerable Nigerians. The 36 state governors also set up 3-member committee led by Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State to engage with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice on the recently passed Executive Order 10/2020 on governance at the subnational level. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
3 weeks into the ease of lockdown of COVID-19 hotspots in Nigeria, cases have continued to rise despite federal government's guidelines for staying safe during the period. What could be responsible for this? Let's join Najatu Tijani, who investigates the scenario in Abuja.
It's a Thursday and one would expect the streets to be empty in line with federal government guidelines pertaining to the ease of lockdown here in Abuja. But at the Area 1 bridge and roundabout, it's business as usual for these motorists which begs the question, are they workers on essential duties as the federal government guidelines stipulate, or are they civil servants on grade level 14 and above who should be working just 3 times a week?
The fact is that everybody's out. I see so many people around, so I feel I shouldn't be left out, really. I'm all about my business, really.
I think this essential duties should be spelled out for people to understand who are the essential workers and who are not the essential workers.
By investigations in Area 1 and its environs revealed 2 prevailing mindsets, that if one doesn't go out, then he will not be able to make a living, and the second being that workers on essential duty should be fully defined by government. It's back to you in the studio, Hawa.
Very well, Naja. Thank you. And we have more reports from you from our Enugu Network Center. Mina, it's your turn.
Thank you, Hawa. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. The Imo State government has reaffirmed its determination to continue to strive to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the state. The chairman of the State Task Force on COVID-19, Professor Morrissey, who made the position of government known while addressing news in the recent the state, as declared by the NDC.
The index of COVID-19 in most states, the government has continued to evolve measures. Each spread, 7 cases so far recorded have all been discharged. With the recent announcement of 26 cases in the state by the NCDC, chairman in the task force COVID-19, Professor Morrissey, who says taken from travelers who were intercepted by security personnel attached to the Imo border. While only one of the travelers out of the positive is from it and the isolation center, others have since proceeded to their destinations outside.
These 96 people are people with the fast spread.
We sincerely apologize for the unsteady video from our Enugu Network Center. We continue here in Abuja, where political and traditional leaders in Benue South Senatorial District have agreed to work with security operatives to stamp out crime and violence from the zone. They stated these at a peace and security meeting with Governor Samuel Utom at the Government House in Makudi. Charles Abba has the details.
The security meeting convened by the Benue State Governor is to meet with prominent sons and daughters of Idoma extractions of the state in charting ways of curbing continuous conflicts in the Benue South Senatorial District. The Governor, who read the communique issued at the end of the meeting, decried kidnapping, banditry, land disputes and other vices in the zone, saying such acts put the state in bad light and hamper development.
The boundary issues in Taraku and Otubo should be resolved as a matter of urgency, and kidnapping in Adum and Ito be checked. The state government is highly commended for its proposals to grant 2-day leave of absence each week for civil servants to engage in agricultural activities as this will serve to provide food security in the state.
The Ochidama and other prominent sons of Idoma Nation like Senator Abamoro, Catholic Bishop of Otukpo Diocese, Most Reverend Michael Apochi, his counterpart of the Methodist, Right Reverend Oliver Abba, and others were unanimous at condemning violence with a pledge to ensure peace in the zone. The governor had a similar meeting with tea-speaking people of the state a fortnight ago. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
And from Makudi, we take you straight to the daily briefing by the PTF on COVID-19.
So we maintain our format. We'll take the remarks, we'll take the updates. The Minister of Information and Culture will also come to the podium to give us a report. And if we have additional report from the ministers, we shall bring such minister to the podium to give you updates. We begin today with the remarks by the chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, the SGF.
Members of the Presidential Task Force, the Director General, West African Health Organization, Professor Stanley Okolo, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, a very good afternoon, and our sincere apologies again. However, I welcome you to the national briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 for Thursday, 28 May 2020. In almost all of our briefings and communications, the Presidential Task Force had made it the need for a drastic change in our lifestyle and behavior, as consequences of the COVID-19. This advisory is based on the fact that the battle is long-term and the cure is still in a distant future, nearest being end of 2021. We continue to urge our citizens to follow these advisories diligently. This point is further underscored by the statistics coming from other parts of the world. A look at the global numbers showed that the world has recorded about 5.8 million cases as of today and over 350,000 fatalities, and reporting from 251 different countries. Of particular note is the fact that a major nation reached the landmark of crossing beyond the 100,000 deaths in a system where the healthcare system is regarded as advanced. Similarly of note is the shift in the epicenter from Europe and the United States of America to South America, particularly Brazil. And of significance here is the Brazil case, which resides in terms of similarity between Africa and Southern America, weather-wise, and that calls for extreme caution on our part. The Presidential Task Force therefore wishes to underscore the need to press further in the development of our infrastructure, intensify our non-pharmaceutical response, the need for our citizens to comply more, and for our communities to get more involved. We say again, we cannot afford to be complacent, continue as if we are not under threat, doubt the virulent nature of COVID-19, and continue to allow the virus to ravage our communities because we are fully in the community phase of the spread of the virus. Yesterday, we informed you during the briefing that the Federal Minister of Health held a virtual conference with the traditional medicine practitioners of Nigeria. We also informed you that issues discussed covered intellectual property rights protection, need for non-disclosure agreements, and the funding opportunities for research and validation processes. Unfortunately, the information put out in the media regarding shortlisting 3 remedies from the traditional medicine practitioners is totally misleading. And I remember exactly what I said in paragraph 11 of that particular brief yesterday, where I mentioned the fact that out of the numerous claimants, 3 were found to deserve further investigation and have been forwarded to the relevant authorities for appropriate action. For the avoidance of doubt, neither the PTF nor the Federal Minister of Health has shortlisted any remedies. This can only be done after diligent processes and as may be directed and advised by the relevant agencies. The Presidential Task Force has received rather sadly reports